Check, check, check. Welcome back to the Young OG Perspective, where we give you a new perspective.
A fresh perspective.
A Young OG Perspective, baby.
Yeah.
You know what it is. It's the fresh kid with the beard and no fear. And today we came to push positivity.
Facts.
Change the narrative.
Woo.
But most importantly, move the culture.
Always.
My name's Alonzo Ashley Oliver if you're looking for me. But I promise you, if you find us, you're going to find exactly what you're looking for. Intelligent gentlemen needing absolutely no trouble.
Original.
Yeah.
Gentlemen.
Exactly. And if you break that down, it's the acronym for that is IGNIT. You see what I did there?
I don't always know what you're doing, but it always comes out smooth no matter what you say.
And this gentleman to my left, he goes by the name of...
You already know it's the M, the I, the K, the E. Mama, I kill everything. Mike Styles in the building, and I'm happy to be back with our guest today.
Yes.
We're going to waste no time
with
this introduction. You always know we got to get down right now. So today we have Dr. Sidni L. Shorter, a dynamic leader and the powerhouse CEO of the Utah Black Chamber of Commerce, where she's driving transformative change in diversity, equity, and inclusion. A former finance entrepreneur, Sidni founded Execute Now to help nonprofits and small businesses thrive, blending her passion for social entrepreneurship with the commitment to equity. Under her bold leadership, the Utah Black Chamber's membership and contributions have skyrocketed, earning Dr. Shorter accolades like the 2024 J.P. Morgan Chase 100 Women to Know in America and the 2023 Utah Business CEO of the Year. With a doctorate in biblical psychology and a heart for servant leadership, Dr. Shorter is on a mission to break barriers and create real opportunities for minority and women-led businesses. So, if we had a live audience today, that's what we say. Make some noise for Dr. Sidni.
Yeah,
Shorter.
Biblical psychology.
So God is good?
All the time.
And all the time?
God is good.
Oh, so we gonna go into church this evening.
Oh, I'll take you there.
I'm happy to go there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need to go.
Thanks for having us. First and foremost, thank you for allowing us to have this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a long time coming. And also thank you for just always reaching back and grabbing us and making us feel a part of this community. I stand here.
You are the community.
Exactly. You know what I mean? We me and Mike, we're in this dark, but we got some melanated Macedonia up in here today. You know what I'm saying? Khaki Kings in the building. You know what I mean? No,
beige bully. The original light skinned assassin. I think I'm older than stuff.
But yeah, so we got a lot of great things coming up. Let's jump right into it.
Absolutely.
The Black Wealth Conference. How did this all come about?
So this was something that really started with one of our major supporters, Zions Bank. And so this is something that they wanted to promote. And we just kind of took our time to really strategize on the best approach and how to best serve those here in the state of Utah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because as an entrepreneur myself, I'm trying to do the best I can, but there's not a lot of information out there.
Yes.
Or should I say a lot of access to the information.
Yes.
Right. So what are some other challenges you're hearing about as far as young entrepreneurs coming up?
Well, it is really access. Mm-hmm. It is information. There's also what we consider barriers. And I say what we are about is really business. We have to really keep it in that context. Most often, business is inhibited because of biases. And what we talk about and what we move with from a chamber perspective is understanding that it is just an economic ecosystem. Our focus is that all businesses should be vital to the economic ecosystem. Either a business is going to cost the system something or it's going to contribute to the system. Issues around access, barriers, and biases cost the system something. But when we ensure that all businesses can participate, then they're vital to the economic ecosystem. And that's what's most important.
So how would you say, outside of the Black Wealth Conference, how do people get their business up and, I guess, kind of running? Like you said, how do you get it to feel like it's contributing versus being stagnant? What are some of the...
Well, what's really important is, number one, doing your due diligence. And I say this often, that you can't eat passion. So you have to wrap your business in business principles. And so most often we take off running with the passion. And passion is great fuel to have, but we have to do our due diligence to ensure that our businesses are healthy, they are sound, they have a great model, and give them the best opportunity to be successful. If we do that part, we can and I always say endurance is overrated, right? But we got to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's where the passion comes in. And that's why we find ourselves, we continue to knock on those doors. We continue to roll back what I call the veil on the windows to try to understand how is it best suited for me to be successful. Because we are very resilient, but at the end of the day, we just want to be in business. We want to be successful as well. We're not looking for anyone to give us anything, to hand out anything. It's like, just put me in the ring. I'll fight you fair, flat-footed.
I like that.
Now, I've heard of other major markets with historically more Black entrepreneurs do wealth conferences. Given the the prestige of the events. What to you is so important to do this out here in Utah?
Well, the number one is we're here. So
and you made that you was loud and proud during All-Star Weekend. I remember like it was yesterday.
Yes, so let's start with we're here. Mm-hmm. And I always say it from this perspective, is that it doesn't matter if you have 200, or 2,000. If you are not serving them well, you will not grow. Mm-hmm. And so it's not a matter of, well, there are not enough people. If there are people, then that is enough. And so you have to start, growth starts with a seed. And so we are the seeds that are here. And we're planted here. We're going to be here. And so there is a focus to ensure that we will cultivate what's here and make sure that it has an opportunity to grow. And so we have to do that. Historically, wealth is not a conversation we have in the Black community.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also, wealth is a great resource, but it's also not a resource. We have to go and get it. Mm-hmm. We have to seek it. We have to excavate most often. And so it's not that it's non-existent, but we have to do the heavy lift and rolling back the veils to ensure that we have access to the knowledge, to the tools, to the resources, to the understanding, to the people. And so why not bring it here? We're here. And so that is critically important. We have the opportunity to be just as wealthy. I mean, we are in a state that has the number one economy in the United States.
Say it.
Yeah. And what's the percentage of entrepreneurs? Isn't it over 50?
In the state of Utah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a high.
Oh, it's a very high number.
It's a very high number.
Yes. Yes.
So so there's some pretty big names on the card. So talk about who's going to be presenting.
So here's what's important about our strategy and our approach to the Wealth Conference. So we have some pretty big names who were eager to come here. And so it's not so much about the big names. It's really what they have accomplished.
Yes.
And that they recognize that it doesn't matter if it's 200 or 2,000, that it's still critically important to share this information. And we're not building bridges because bridges go over what issues are. We're making connections. And so we are making sure that what we are doing is ensuring that there are opportunities and outcomes. What's equally important is that our sessions are being done by people that are here in Utah because it does exist. So this is how we are ensuring that there is access and we are removing barriers. So yes, we have the big names coming in to give us high levelly, but the how to and the where it is being done by those that are here locally. And we look at it and say, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was going on there. I didn't know that program existed. I didn't know that tool was accessible for me.
I love that because, obviously each one teach one, but we talk about representation so much in our community among, black, brown, whatever color you may be. So I think it's important to have representation, as you said, from people right here where you live that have done it. So I think this is incredible. What do you really want people to leave this event with? Like, we have amazing, keynote speakers, and there's a lot of buzz around it. But what are the key takeaways you're really hoping for people to walk away and feel good about?
So our theme for this year was wealth esteem, or is wealth esteem.
I love that.
And so when we talk about that, we have to have tools. We have to have things that we can work with in a way that it's measurable. So we're now, when you leave the Wealth Conference, what are you going to do with the information? But not just the information, because you are now connected with people who are right here in Utah. They are not getting on a plane and flying out. Are you now connected to them in a way that you're going to show up at their office? You're going to make sure the programs that they are sharing with you, that those are real opportunities for you, because for us, it is about the outcomes.
Wow. Offering $250,000 in grants, bold and generous move. What motivated you guys to do that?
Wealth takes what? Investment. So as we said, we're having a wealth conference. Of course we're investing. And we have great partners who are partnering with us to ensure that it's happening. But one thing I want to elevate is when we talk about business, we talk about growing wealth, we talk about maintaining, we talk about growing, we talk about sustaining, but we're also talking about building legacy. That is so important. One of the things from an entrepreneurial standpoint, what we typically do, and this is not unique to the Black community, what we tell business owners is you invest back into that business. But what about you? How are you investing in you? And there are two things that we have to look at, is that yes, you want to generate revenue, you want to make profit, but how am I long-term going to sustain and build a legacy if I'm only putting back into the company? But then the most important aspect is the person, the people. And so we are focused on the mental health aspect, because your mental health is your wealth as well. And so that is a part of the $250,000 that we are looking at as an investment. And so we've partnered with the Huntsman here, and we will look at 6 months of mental health for a male, a female, and a family that they are sponsoring. That is critically important.
Wow. That's beautiful because, I personally, we all have mental health, right? And, some have more struggles than others. So I think that's incredible that you're not only focusing on what you can do with the finances, but really giving back to, like you said, the soul and the nurturing. Because without that, you can't really move and groove anywhere else. But you also kind of mentioned we're taught to reinvest our money right back into the company, which was something that took me a while to learn when building my musical career and business. We was robbing Peter to pay Paul back then. But what are some of the resources that will be there to assist people with finding out what other investment vehicles there are to set themselves up for exit strategies and things?
Absolutely. So right now, let's talk about building first. So right now there's the Utah Small Business Credit Initiative. This is August. That entity has $20 million that it has to get out of the door by December. It is not stringent banking rules and regulations. It is really for small disadvantaged businesses. We have a lot of small disadvantaged businesses, but they are doing well. They can qualify for some funding. They just can't qualify and meet the stringent guidelines of a bank. And so that's what those dollars are for. So they will be there talking about that program, because it is going to be critically important for a small business that is just on the precipice of probably growing, a great growth trajectory, or maybe an opportunity for a great contract, and they don't have the operational capital for that gap. to be able to operate until that contract pays, right? And so those types of funding, if you're looking at building out, if you are looking at buying equipment, those are the types of things that those dollars qualify for. But then we also have Mountain Crest Capital that's going to be there, who's going to help you understand if you're looking at giving up any equity, or you are looking at taking on an investor, or you need a surge of capital. They're going to help you understand what is suited best for your business and your trajectory for growth. We'll also have Raymond James advisors there. I love their approach because their approach to wealth comes from like a family approach, because we don't talk about finances in our family. We tell our kids we got bills.
We sure do.
We got bills. I got a car payment. But what does that mean from a financial infrastructure? And we don't teach them those skills, right? And so we have to normalize having those conversations. We just said, we're trying to reach the goal at the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and you've got to pick the coins up along the way. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what we have to do to really be able to build that legacy, because we have to show and teach those skills. And so I love their approach to that. So that is something that we are looking forward to. Then we have the Utah Small Business Alliance that's going to be there, and that is a consortium of chambers. The diverse chambers have come together with the Small Business Administration and Mountain Crest Credit Union. And so we are looking at opportunities for businesses to come and get small amounts of money, sometimes maybe just to pay for supplies, maybe to put a truck back on the road because I've got a transportation business and now we've got some maintenance issues and things like that. And so this is something that we are trying to do to fill small gaps and get you to the point where you are growing and then you are now bankable, right? And so all of these steps are important when we're talking about building wealth, because it's not magic.
Wow. That's deep. That's deep. That's got me rethinking my whole business structure and everything, that we've learned in the last 5 years. So we're going to be at the event on Wednesday, and
Absolutely.
I will be soaking up as much game
Please do.
as possible, and definitely have my notepad out. I do have a question kind of off path a little bit. We got your PR person in here. Sorry, Nikki. When it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy? What legacy does Sidni want to leave behind for the community and the Utah Black Chamber when it's all said and done?
That I served businesses well. Since we're off path, this work for me is mission and ministry. That makes it difficult. But understanding that I am a servant leader, and that is what drives me. What's really important from a chamber perspective is that we bring value. This is an economic thesis. So when we look at our work, we do events and things like that, but when you peel back that layer and you look at how the businesses that we are engaging and who's engaging with us and how they are growing and the economic impact we are having, that is critically important when you look at the landscape of the challenges that we faced. A year ago, we did not have one business that was going to get an SBA loan that was getting approved. Within 1 year, 100% of the businesses that we recommended got approved.
Wow. These are Black-owned businesses?
Absolutely.
I love that. That's beautiful. Funny, because we was on the same page. Because I was thinking in my head, like, you've been a steamroller since you got here. And it's really incredible to watch.
It's only because you told me one day you like my shoes.
Stop we could go on for the outfits every day. You got the Michael Jackson bads on right now. I like those. So how do Black businesses really get integrated into the broader ecosystem? Obviously there's conferences like these, which are inaugural. There's, you're doing the work now. Is it continuing just to participate?
Absolutely.
And show up, or are there other keys to the game that
There are a couple
are already
things.
out there?
There's no one way. You can show up. We will come to you. We will bring it to you. We want to know where you are, what your needs are. One of the things that we changed strategically, we're trying to scrub the access, the ability to just join the chamber online. Like you just go online and you just join. We have a membership director where everyone gets an opportunity to speak with her so that we will understand who you are, where you are, and what you need. We are not a one-size-fits-all, but we also know that we can't do everything for everyone, but we can understand what you need, prioritize that, and we go to work. And so if you engage and you want to be a part of that, that is the work that we do for you. And I always say, as you're building your business, we are working for you, identifying those opportunities, identifying those resources, identifying those relationships.
So being such a vital resource for the community, you got here
22.
22.
April
Okay.
1st, 2022.
Okay. So, I'm good friends with James and Mikhail. So, it was evening in Harlem. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
That was my first work day.
Yeah. Evening
That's
in
where I
Harlem.
showed up, April
You know what I
1st,
mean? Yeah.
2022. I went right to work that night.
Evening in Harlem, and having several conversations with James, and helping him with the Black Utah Stories book. He was always like, I've taken it as far as I can take it. I have other career
Yes.
aspirations and things like that. So, how have you been able to be so successful with, being not from Utah, especially,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Because I feel like there is a level of homegrown
Yes.
ego and
Yes.
pride, you know what I mean? But now we can't help it. There's just too many people moving here, which is beautiful. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Except for the Sunday traffic. That's something I'm still getting used to.
Well, to answer that question, it's two things. I got here April 1st. My first board meeting was April 4th. And what I shared with the board, what I presented to the board, was that my first 90 days, I was only doing two things. And that was listening and learning. So when you ask, how am I successful? You have to listen. You have to learn. You have to understand who you're serving and why. And so from that point, it was a matter of being consistent. Oftentimes we say, I've got these 25 things that I'm going to do. You may accomplish 4 of them very well. The only thing people will remember is the 21 that you did not do. And so
Drop this mic.
we're going to do 2 things really well, and folks are going to be able to count on us for doing those things, and we're going to be consistent, and we're going to deliver, and we did that. So what James built is absolutely amazing, but what I had to do was earn the respect. I earned the respect. I had to deliver. When I first we're going to change the logo. No, that is superficial. I haven't done anything. So why would I change a logo? What's the point of that? This is about business. This is about the economic trajectory of businesses in the state of Utah. And we are vital contributors, and that is the role of the chamber, to ensure that we all have the opportunity to participate in that manner.
I'm going to get a little selfish here since I have your time. And I'm just going to ask some questions that are really on my mind, because you've always been sharp and on point. And I just kind of want to know, what are some of the things that really molded you to be who you are? What were the influences? What's the infrastructure that got you from Sidni L. Shorter to Dr. Sidni L. Shorter?
Well, let me start with, I'm a little sister. I have an older brother who was an amazing athlete, I think, from the womb. And so I wanted to be like him. That's part of it. The other part is that I come from a family of educators and entrepreneurs who were bold in how they approached things. And so I became an entrepreneur at the age of 7. I was literally given a job and I had no supervision, and I was totally responsible for. Now, I did not have the business acumen or the nomenclature to put on what was happening, but that is what I was groomed to do. And that's how I naturally began to function. But I was also extremely insecure and extremely low self-esteem. And so all of that was steeped in fear. So my performance was always based on hiding all of that. So all you would see is she's smart. She is smart. She is smart. And so it was always a matter of I had to have the best grade. I had to have the best report. It took me years and years as an adult to understand what that was. But once I acknowledged it and I recognized it and built myself to the point where I would begin to work on it, then at that point, I was just unleashed. And so my approach is today. This moment is this moment. And what am I doing with it right now? And so I had someone share with me just a couple weeks ago, and she just said, Dr. Shorter, you walk into spaces and it's as if you own it. I said, no, I don't own it. I don't need to own it. I just know I belong there.
Hey.
There we go.
I belong anywhere I show up.
I love that.
But it took years to get there.
There's a level of maturity within your confidence to be able to be comfortable in your own skin, right?
Not comfortable, authentic.
Authentic.
Yeah,
Okay,
because sometimes our authenticity make us uncomfortable. If you're honest with yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so I always say your issue with me most often is your issue. So I watch my weight. I don't carry that for you. You carry that. I have my own. So I'm going to work on carrying mine. But I always say that it's very good. It's a good practice to listen to your critics because you can learn from them.
Yep.
Because oftentimes there's some truth that's there. And so I am now comfortable with being vulnerable. There's a strength in vulnerability, and I had to learn that.
Wow.
I love that because, I got long hair now, and that was a big part. I think of understanding myself and being authentic that's one of the, I would say, most commonalities between most of us as Black people is, we're afraid to wear our hair our natural way because of our jobs and things like that. And that was my very first step of being as authentic as I possibly could be, and walking into every room and feeling like I'm accepted. So thank you for sharing that, 'cause I think that's very important for anyone who's out there listening and aspiring to be something better. For us who don't know, what are, I guess, some of the key pitfalls you may have had along the way that really kind of shaped you, or a moment that was like, ooh, this made me pivot in a direction that really changed me?
What they think. What will they think? What will they say? What will they say? And I had no idea who the hell they were. I could never quite identify them, but I was scared to death of them, right? And so it just became interesting that as I began to unpack myself, the things that were very external were like a mystery. And what I absolutely knew was myself. And one of the things I often say is that, there are two things that you can't dispute that are a fact. It's death and taxes. And I say there's a third. You are with yourself 100% of the time.
That part.
And I always say, debate me. What's interesting about that, if we map it out in an equation, how much of that time are you really focused on you? How much of that time are you really thinking about you? Or are you focused on what they think, what they're going to say? And, I always say validation is for parking and not for people. Because when you think of the whole aspect of validating your car, I'm going to get my car validated. Well, you hand over the keys. Someone takes your car and they put it where they want and they park it and they keep your keys. And you have to pay them to get it back. That's a horrible position to be in. And yet, as people, we seek validation. And so you want me to be one way, you want me to be another way, someone else expects something else from me. How can I ever be me if I'm trying to figure out and trying to ensure that I am validated in all these different spaces and places by people that I don't really know, that I spend a fraction of time with, but I'm with me 100% of the time? Because the respect comes when you are who you are.
Wow. So even before we started filming, I like to observe our guests and just, have little sidebar conversations. And we were talking earlier about what you had for breakfast. So just a couple of things from this interview that I'm hearing from you is definitely consistency, routine, and
Not perfection.
yeah, yeah, consistency, routine, and your confidence, right? And being authentic. So I would like to ask, if you don't mind, what are some of your daily disciplines?
I go to bed early. I wake up early. I pray and meditate every day. Depending on the day, I pray a lot more. I work out. I exercise. I run when my knees say I can. I walk the other days. I spend quality time with those that I love. I try to make sure that I check on someone every day. That I'm just checking on someone. How you doing? What's going on? That's important for me. But then that I give what I'm doing 100%. And there are days that I feel that I'm half approaching it, I'll shut it down. I'll shut it down. I just feel like it's not going to be worth anything if I'm not going to give it my all.
It makes sense. I'm just so intrigued, kind of speechless at times, because of what do the kids say nowadays? The aura. It's like everything's an aura plus 1,000. So now that we know the things.
What does that mean?
So you know how people have like an energy about them, or they'll say
Okay.
Michael Jordan walks in a room and they always said he levitates or whatnot. You
Oh, right.
just have an aura about you, and it's very contagious, right? Now that we kind of know your disciplines, how do you carry out your day-to-day tasks? What goes into the
I
team
write it down.
that's around you.
Okay.
And
I write it down. I am still old school, checklist, mark it off, and if I didn't get it done today, I move it to tomorrow. That's how I have to, and I have to have routines. Routines are very important, for me. But I love to listen to music.
Yeah, we jamming out to some jazz.
I love to read. I love to write. And so that's kind of that's my jam. I don't know if you all see me public, but if it's some music,
oh yeah,
I'm
yeah. Well,
I have no shame when it comes to that, none whatsoever. It is freeing, it's liberating, and I love it. Probably has a lot to do with the fact that I'm from Louisiana too, because we just break out in a dance, right?
that part. So we want to make sure we have as many eyes and ears on this conversation to bring the awareness to the event that's happening Wednesday. Can you give us I know we're going to have a Motown show as well. Like it's going all
There's going to be a wealth of things going on. One of the things we didn't talk about is that we have a day 2 that's been added to the conference by the Department of Energy. They said that 45 minutes was not enough time for them to impart about us all the resources and the opportunities that they have. And so on day 2, we have a session from 8 o'clock. I think it's 6 panelists, 6 speakers from 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock, Department of Energy, Lindustry. I forget who all is there. But when you look at it, number one, it starts at the top of the day in the Department of Energy, unpacking the fact that they have $400 billion identified for minority-owned businesses that they are trying to get out of the door. That is significant. That is significant. And so they wanted a day two. We said, absolutely. Whatever you can give us that is going to help us on this path of building our wealth esteem. Because understanding over 80% of black businesses that do over $1 million in revenue have some type of government contract. So we need to know how to obtain those contracts. On Wednesday, one of the other sessions that's really important is that Austin Industries, who is managing the Texas Instruments $2 billion build out here in the state of Utah, is hosting a session on minority participation for that project, which is going to be huge. They have a $250 million set aside for minority businesses on that project. And it's not just on the construction side, it's everything from doing PR to catering to driving trucks, just all of those things. And so there's going to be a wealth of information, wealth of opportunities, and our goal is to ensure that there are a wealth of outcomes. And so, yes, starting on Wednesday morning at 7:30, we have a press conference. Then we will go into our morning keynote speakers, Ashley Bell and Dr. Calvin Mackey, who has taken this entrepreneurial approach to education. And then we will go into our sessions. And then in the afternoon, we have the co-founder of FUBU, J. Alexander Martin, and Miss Kim Roxy, who has an amazing cosmetic line. And then we will go into a VIP session where we are giving out that $250,000 of prizes. If you are a winner, you have to be present to win. And then we will have the Business Expo and Motown concert. And I want everyone to understand the Business Expo and the Motown concert is open to the public. That is for everyone. And that starts at 5:00 p.m.
Okay.
And that's on Wednesday.
And where can they, I guess, RSVP, get tickets?
www.utahblackchamber.com. There's a big purple banner at the top. You click on that, and all the information is there, and you can register there. And, of course, you can register when you get there.
Okay.
Part of my ignorance, what is the significance of having a government contract? You mentioned black businesses doing over $1 million had a government contract.
Because the government pays their bills.
Okay.
They pay.
That's simple.
Yeah,
Okay.
they pay their bills. But what's important to understand, the reason why it's not easy to get in, you have to perform. Because you're participating in major work. And so people say, oh, it's too hard. It's not that it's too hard. Yes, there are some barriers I think we probably could eliminate. But if your aspect of building this bridge is pouring the concrete, they have to make sure that you can pour that concrete and you know what the heck you're doing.
Gotcha.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we have a little
Just had to
fun
ask.
here. Yeah, let's have a little fun before we go. I've been wanting to do this for a few
But
episodes.
they not like us.
No. Wop. No. Okay, so just going to raffle off some random questions just for fun here. You love music.
Mm-hmm.
Motown's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Name
Oh,
your...
Kenny Lattimore is coming.
Ooh,
He is our headliner.
Oh.
How did
Okay.
I forget? Yes.
there we go.
Yes.
Lifetime,
Exclusive.
I think I'd catch him.
Yes.
So who is your favorite Motown artist?
My favorite Motown artist, I have to say, it's 3 of them, but it's 2 in 1. Marvin Gaye and Ashford and Simpson.
Okay. Marvin Gaye is one of my favorite artists as well. I often play What's Going On. Often. And it was funny, we were going through, I think it was during my initial, I guess, moment with police brutality back, I think it was when Michael Brown passed away. And I was struggling, I was 25 years old, and I was struggling to understand, like, us in this society. And I remember sitting on the floor, just tears in my eyes, and I posted about it on Facebook, and my cousin Andy said, "Go listen to Marvin Gaye." And it was incredible how timeless the message was.
Absolutely.
How much healing was within his music. So I definitely can relate.
Have
to
you
that.
heard "When Will There Be a Harvest for the World" by the Isley Brothers? That's okay. I'm going to play it for you guys before you
perfect.
leave.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay.
I'll add it to my.
I mean, I'm
for sure.
aware of the Isley Brothers. for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
You know, definitely Ron. What the hell is going on?
No. Yeah, not that version of the Isley Brothers. I'm talking about a whole nother. When
No,
when
I'm
they
playing,
when
I'm playing,
look,
I'm
when they
playing.
were the formerly known as just
Right. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. I love that. And then just a quick follow up here as well. You mentioned from Louisiana, as we all know, the NOLA, the boot. You guys have the Super Bowl. I think in February.
yes,
Now,
yes. I'll be working.
I was
Oh, the
gonna-
chamber will be present at
That
the
was my
Super Bowl.
question.
Oh, absolutely.
Can you give us any insight or heard it here first information regarding what the chamber's involvement is during that weekend?
No.
Okay. All right. I had to ask. We can turn the cameras off.
I got one too. I got a pop up.
But
question
it's great opportunity for our businesses here
Yeah.
in the state of Utah. Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely. Great partners.
Back to music. Jazz or neo soul?
Jazz.
Okay. Okay.
I like them both, but
Okay.
jazz is I also like chamber music, not because I am head of a chamber, but I do. If you
got
get in
bars, too.
my car, you're gonna hear Bach and Brahms and Vivaldi. That's what's playing.
I love it. Pancakes or waffles?
Water.
No, I was gonna say you don't do the carbs. I know
I
you
do.
you
I
don't the carbs.
do. But I mean, if I had to choose, I wouldn't choose either.
Same. Me and you both. Me and you both.
All right. Do you have anything
Now, if
to
you had
add?
put donut in the mix,
Okay.
donut.
What's your favorite donut spot in the greater Salt Lake City area? I'm going to put you on the spot there. Do you have one? I have recommendations if you don't. I like Banbury.
I'm gonna tell you. Banbury is good too.
Oh,
No, Banbury's good
Banbury's
too.
just-
Yeah, the glazed. Yeah.
tough.
Yes.
It's tough
yes.
not to.
You're right. Yeah. Banbury's really good as
But-
well.
Okay. Well, anyways, I just had to ask you. I don't get your time very
Yeah.
often anymore since we're not in the same
I
establishment.
know.
Hurts my little heart. But I think on behalf of both of us and the Young OG Perspective, we really appreciate you coming out today to sit and talk
Thank
with us
you for
about
having
the
me.
inaugural
Thank you.
Black Business Conference.
Black Wealth Conference.
Black Wealth Conference.
Building our wealth
Correction.
esteem.
Building our wealth esteem.
Yes, sir.
We want everybody out there healthy. You
Okay.
understand?
I like that.
Yeah.
And wealth.
Wealth esteem. I do like
Yes.
that. Okay. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming out.
Thank
and
you.
to those of you listening and watching, we thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Young OG Perspective, where we what?
Give you a new perspective.
A fresh perspective.
A young OG perspective, baby.
Yup.